All right. Hey, y'all. Hey, happy Tuesday. Today, we are going to hop right into the topic. This is AI Mastery Sessions with Rosemary. And yeah, so make sure you are liking, commenting, and subscribing so you don't miss an episode. I will be coming on consistently and sporadically on the things that I want to talk about in regards to AI mastery. So today we are going to start off this wonderful Tuesday talking about a recap of a spaces that I was just a part of on X. If you're not familiar with Twitter, formerly known as Twitter, they have audio spaces that I believe that if you are on your AI journey or just in tech, period, I would highly recommend that you start investing a little time, at least 30 minutes to an hour, at least a week at minimum, to dedicating to listening to a spaces that is on a topic that is in regards to whatever project or concept that you're looking to master in AI. You can literally go from 0 to 100 real quick from getting the right information, even outside of utilizing an AI tool to help train you on said topic, being around the community of people who are actively doing it or have the experience to give you advice as far as the capabilities and what they foresee as, the capping of the capabilities of the current state of AI tools. I think it is priceless, to be quite honest. So, today we're going to talk about vibe coding and Trey AI. Now, I have a community that I just launched recently, and it is the Trey AI. Hold on, don't give me the line. I want to say the right name, but y'all can go on my profile on Twitter at Rosemary Salem TV and join for my next wave of vibe coders. Yes, they finally have given what I've been doing for the past 2 months a name, and it's vibe coding. Okay, that's when you are literally basically you're building software engineering projects with IDEs of your choice that are AI full powered tools that can build full stack applications. Okay. So my community is Trey.ai dev space. That's Trey.ai dev space. So if you're on X, make sure you join that community. It is a space for developers using code smarter with AI. So we share tips, projects, and ideas to level up your workflow. I started this community because there is no community actively on X for Trey AI users outside of their actual Discord, which they have a very active Discord. Shout out to them, but you can't necessarily like talk and do things like that. So we will be meeting up, and I'll be hosting vibe coding hours at least twice a week for us to link up so that you can share your projects. We can talk about different things and just have that community so that we can support one another because Trey AI is actively free, it's open source right now, and it's one of the most powerful. Let me say that again, one of the most powerful IDs out there. If you love Cursor, then you're gonna love Trey AI because it's basically a free Trey AI. They have access to the latest DeepSeek R1 is already embedded within there. You have access to Claude 3.5 and you get access to Claude Sonnet 3.7. So those are just premium based models that you have access to. And I believe now you can, yeah, or you could have before pulled in your own API keys, of course, so the possibilities are limitless. And I want to just shout out to Trey AI. They had a event that they hosted on their Twitter account, and they was hosting two founders that started a startup for creating slideshows kind of like similar to Gamma, but they have their own, USP. I don't remember the exact USP, so I don't want to share too much about it because I can't formally represent their brand. But I want to shout them out. The founders were Eric Kwan and Ben. They have the product Cube One. So if you want to learn more about Cube One, definitely check them out. So Cube One, they developed the product in just 1 month and landed on Product Hunt's top four, gaining thousands of new users and paying customers in 1 month using Trey. Do you understand me? So if you're looking to really maximize your potential with full stack AI IDE platforms, whichever one you want to use. You want to use Cursor, you want to use Klein, you want to use Rue Klein, you want to use Bolt.new, you want to use, what's the other one? Bolt.diy. If you want to use, what's the one by Google? Product Project IDX. If you want to use lovable.dev, you you name it and claim it, you can do it. But I am going to be highlighting Trade because again, right now it's currently free to use, and there are some limitations, but in my opinion the limitations are very worked around. So for instance, if you want to use the 3.7, there is a waiting list, so you may be working and you're going to get a notification to say, hey, you're number 237 in line waiting on a response. However, from my experience with using the platform, it's still worth it because that you go from 237 to 2 in like 2 seconds, depending on what time of day you're working on your projects, right? So where there's a will, there's a way. It's very powerful, and you're going to see me promoting Trey AI for the longest, especially while it's open source right now. And I just know that there are many users that are rooting for Cursor, or there are many users who desire to use a platform as powerful as Cursor. So if you're looking for that, Trey AI is right there in the bag, ready for you to use. Okay. So today I wanted to talk about a recap of a spaces that was hosted by Game GPT official account. Shout out to them. They were talking about, and I retweeted it on my page. They were talking about AI redefining game development. I'm so thankful that I was able to tune in to this particular spaces. I tune into a lot of spaces. I do want to start doing more recaps like this. So if you like this, make sure you like, comment, and share and subscribe, and let me know you down with this type of content. However, I'm gonna do it anyway because this is what I want to talk about, and I feel like it's important. So there were a mix of a powerful panel of experienced game developers, experienced game designers. Um, Game GPT official is already in Web3, so you're already in the future tapping into the game concept discussions. I was able to get questions to answers that I didn't even know I needed to ask. For instance, one of my first projects using Trey AI, and I posted it on my X account, was Funky Bingo, a Telegram game, because I had started reviewing Web3 games, and it was told to focus on Telegram games as a suggestion for one of the top influencers in the game. And you all are going to see me reviewing a lot more games as well because I took a breather because your girl is mixed, she's juggling. Okay, this is why we're doing AI mastery sessions with Rosemary. Okay, I do a lot of AI concepts, not just one, so this allows me to be versatile in my show and my topics, and be able to just flow and do me. And y'all get to learn from me and see progress and just enhance whatever it is that you're working on when it comes to AI. So the spaces was powerful. The panel was on point, and what was shared was, let's start here. Where is AI and its dependability on building the next Roblox, the next Fortnite with an IDE. Okay. So basically, depending on vibe coding to build out a full out game. What was the consensus of what the experts on the panel said was that users should of these said IDEs should focus on building more browser-based games that's about the maximum capabilities right now on actually even feeling like you're going to have some type of conceptualized or product that is strong enough to go to market with completely using an IDE AI platform to develop a game, which I stop right here. That answered the question for me with building my gamer portfolio as an IDE connoisseur and creator. Now, that right there, you're a game developer and you're trying to master stuff and you're trying to show improve and you're trying to work on vibe coding. Now you can focus on just browser-based games such as like the next Tetris, which I was in alignment with my Telegram games because hello, Funky Bingo is a browser-based game. It's very low, low in, I'm not gonna say low in quality, but low in necessity of needing, too much 3D movement and all of that. I'm able to build that game with confidence as a newbie to vibe coding, to coding in general, right? As someone who's actively learning code outside of building it and using IDEs. So you are going to see that by focusing in on just browser based games, you can take that and run with it and start working on your portfolio. I know I am. So that made me more confident in the route that I was going already. That kind of showed me my, not necessarily say limitations, but that kind of allowed me to get into a space of, hmm, if I want to really show, improve my skill sets in vibe coding when it comes to game development, this should be like my focal point and I can rock it out with that. So I wanted to share that because their feedback was we're 2 to 4 years out from building full on games as far as like the next Fortnite, Roblox being completely built without, you know, a human game designer and developer being fully in the loop. Even though vibe coding is human in the loop because you're still coding, the dependability of a model not hallucinating on sort of certain complex design topics are still very, 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 very questionable. So therefore, it is not possible for a model to be said to be that number one model to represent the capabilities of building an all-inclusive game with AI. And then they brought up another topic, which was the competitiveness in the marketplace, which I feel is hinting to, the fear mongering that was originally introduced when ChatGPT was released and when people started to understand the power behind AI and the software behind it and just robotics industry as a whole. What does that threat impose on people's willpower and really their wealth in this arena of AI and robotics, ML? All of that goes hand in hand, right? We got things doing tasks that humans get paid to do, right? And game development is a lucrative industry. So if you got vibe coding that's coming and replacing said, oh yeah, they brought up the comment. I forgot who they quoted, but the person they quoted was highly reputable and saying that vibe coding can now be sufficient to replace vibe coding, as in you can use an AI to replace a junior level software engineer, okay, or a junior level developer. which I highly agree with. Okay. But what I would say to a said junior developer, because I feel like if you're a junior developer, you just on your way to being a senior developer, take what you know and start mastering IDE so you can advance yourself to that senior level of concepts, right? Okay, that's just my 2 cents, okay, on that. However, comma, even with that, that's talking about companies saying, okay, I believe in this AI so much that I'm going to cut off a whole position to depend on this AI model to produce for me. Now, let me talk about this. What does that mean for the workplace? Because they brought up that I still believe that in the next 5 years, we'll still need human in the loop on AI transitions. Let me just say that at minimum. Okay. And I don't think that AI is moving as fast as we say it is, because even though some things may be completely ready to be released in the background of these big five tech companies, right? It still hasn't been released for a reason. You understand? And even in that, we still have to, we're building a whole new infrastructure. We're building a whole new way worldwide, collectively, a whole new infrastructure of how we do business, of how money is transported and currencies. All of it is new. It's just now becoming more aware to the average person, which is why the conversation and the collective consciousness is becoming more aware. And the first thing that we do when we become aware of something that we do not know, we oftentimes lead on to fear, because that is our response to something that is foreign. When something is foreign to us, we fear it. But when you become more knowledgeable, you begin to understand how you can use it for your benefit, because fear is nothing but false evidence appearing real. We're in the dictatorship seat of the trend setting of how this is going to go. You just have to activate your voice and activate your creativity so that you can be one of the wheel turners in this new ship. I just said a whole word. Y'all better quote me on that. That's straight off the dome right there. This whole line is straight off the dome, but that was powerful. Okay. If I was saying this on a stage, I would want to see and hear the claps, because I just said a whole word. All right. So get on your post. So this is why I'm doing what I'm doing, so that you all can get in alignment with what it is that you can creatively build to continue to steer this new ship that we're on. Because we're all on this ship, whether we like it or not. We just need to direct it in the way that we foresee it going. This time you have a voice. This is why Web3 is so powerful. We're talking about decentralized markets. We're talking about true data protection. We're talking about things that we didn't have the capability, right? We probably had the capability, but we didn't have the knowingness. There was something missing, something lacking, where we, as an individual person, as a collective consciousness, had the right to say something about how our world operated. This is why Web3 is so powerful. This is why they are pushing for these things. So when it comes to models like Trey AI, the reason why I'm so passionate about being a person to just cultivate a community so that more people can talk about it is because let's launch SaaS. There I remember 5 years ago, there were people, and still to this day, making a bag off of developing an app. And there were people who also did not have that income to invest in it. They just didn't have it, right? It's not that they weren't willing to give a bag for it. I'm talking about for the people in the bag, okay? The people in the bag that just didn't have it. Now you can take Trade AI and let's make it happen. You understand what I'm saying? Now you have a tool that was not there before. And even those of you all who know what to do, who I would say the developers, if you know how to develop and you're a beast, where your agency at if you haven't started it? right? You probably never thought about starting an agency. You probably was so focused on landing a role in one of the big five tech companies that you were looking over the entrepreneurial endeavors that are wide open for you, right? You understand what I'm saying? There's you turn that freelancing into a whole agency. Let's start converting. Okay, let's start teaching and training. Maybe hey, it's slow on landing a client, cool. There's a whole lot of people who want to learn what you know. Okay, subject matter experts will never die. I'll say that again. Subject matter experts will never die. We are subject matter experts. This is why I'm in position. This is why you need to be in position. So Trey AI is a powerful platform to get those ideas from idea to conceptualize. That is what AI is doing. It is empowering your ideas. It is helping you. It is being an aid. It is whatever you need to turn it into to work for yourself. Work for you. Work for whatever you're building. So the game development conversation was super powerful because if you thinking on a high level scale, if the game developers are, I would say game development is is all wrapped into tech, because game theory and natural language processing and ML and prompt engineer, all that singing the same song. Okay. And when you understand game theory, you will fully understand um tech. And this is why a lot of tech professionals are big gamers secretly. I would say, why am I saying that? Because tech requires a high level of mastery, and that's all gaming is about. You're continuing to go up the ladder to win more and 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 more. Okay, and that's just from a simplistic approach of understanding the power of gaming and the role gaming will forever play in tech. This is why shortly after the release of all these coins became the Web3 gaming scene. This is why Web3 gaming is inevitable. One of the big influencers on here, Sam. If you don't know Sam, you will. If you're looking to understand the state of Web3 gaming, Sam is one of the most prominent people who is an influencer right now, very active on X and YouTube and etc., online and offline. Right. Recently, he raised I don't remember the amount of money, so I don't want to misquote, but he raised a lot of money charity with Web3 gaming. Okay, so there are people who are already pioneering the way. This is the time for pioneers to stand up. So I believe that if you're listening to me, you are already a pioneer because you are getting the information, which is making you a pioneer. I believe once you understand and once you know and once you receive, that's it. That's all. Now it's your time to stand in your light, on your creativity, on your power, on your entrepreneurship endeavor, and get in alignment. Because though we can focus on fear, we can also focus on opportunity. We can also focus on the clear landscape that's being developed. Okay, well, that may be becoming quote unquote obsolete, as you say, but what is becoming the opportunity? Because where there's something, what goes up must come down, vice versa. So there's a yin and a yang to everything, right? So it's whatever you want to focus on. It's all on you. It's cause and effect. We can okay, we can talk about that all day. So I definitely believe that them having that spaces was worth listening to, and I appreciated all of the different point of views. I love conversations that are powerful, and I believe Trey AI is a great platform to build your games on. I built one. I'm still working through it because there are things that I just don't know, right? And that's the beauty of it, to be a novice, to be able to say, I don't know, and be confident in it. I don't know, but I can figure it out with AI, with persistence, with understanding, with educating myself, with getting in the right environments, you can literally the sky is the limit. So I want you guys to join the community if you need a space. If you're saying, okay, Rosemary, you've convinced me, I'm on the ramp, the the train to building my next application with Trey AI, definitely join Trey AI Dev Space. It's going to be phenomenal. And definitely follow Game GPT Official. They host rooms every Tuesday at 4 p.m. UTC time, which is, I'm in Texas, so that's 11 a.m. Central Standard Time, and it's only an hour long. I would highly recommend that you tune in and that you tap into it because it's worth every moment. So I do want to announce that I will be back on a couple of times today. This video was just for what it was about. I wanted to talk about vibe coding. So again, vibe coding is a real industry that's growing, and I believe that whether you are a developer now or engineer now, or you're wanting to build and you're utilizing and capitalizing off of IDEs, learning vibe coding and understanding vibe coding is necessary. I do want to talk about MCPs, AI agents. I want to talk about a lot of other things, but we'll be back on with another Google Whisk and Grok episode today, of course, and I'll be on probably again for another time. So I'll be popping in and out with different topics so you all can just look at the title. I'll make sure that the title matches what I'm talking about. But this has been another AI mastery session with Rosemary Salem. Make sure you guys like, comment, share, and subscribe. Hit the bell so that you know when I am going live, and make sure you follow Trey AI, follow Game GPT Official as well. Get motivated, get going, and I love y'all with the love of Christ. See y'all later.